Hey folks, welcome to the Watchman Newscast. You may have heard that during the UN General Assembly on September 27, 2024, there was an incredible scene where dozens upon dozens of diplomats walked out in protest during Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's speech. Now, why is this such a big deal? Why is it that so many countries are fed up with Israel right now? Is the world really turning on Israel? We're going to break it down in a minute. It is a stunning story. And we want to keep you in the loop on what's happening in the world's most volatile and chaotic region, the Middle East, and how it affects you no matter where you live. Many diplomats walked out during Benjamin Netanyahu's speech at the UN. Let's put this in context for you. Over the past year, more than 42,000 innocent people, many of them women and children, have been killed in Gaza. Millions have been displaced, wounded, their lives shattered. It is a humanitarian catastrophe unfolding right now in Gaza, and Benjamin Netanyahu, the Israeli Prime Minister, he is in the hot seat, and he's facing a lot of criticism from the international community. They are fed up with what they see as Israel's over-the-top response to Hamas's October 7th attack last year. Remember that date? October 7th, 2023. On that date, Hamas, which rules Gaza with an iron fist, carried out surprise attacks against Israel. Some 1,300 Israelis were murdered, many of them civilians. Israel responded, as we outlined in a previous newscast earlier this week, with a massive air campaign in Gaza, but then they went into Gaza on the ground. Now they've pulled back from Gaza, but they are still carrying on airstrikes in Gaza, in Lebanon, and in Syria. The big story today is what happened when Benjamin Netanyahu got up before the UN General Assembly. He was met with protesters right away. You see the headlines? The world walks out on Netanyahu. Dozens of diplomats leave hall during his speech. They're calling this a protest over the Gaza war. Again, this is Benjamin Netanyahu. He is one of the main architects of Israel's response over the past year to Hamas. And he's going to the UN, and he's defending Israel's actions, and the international community is saying, we've had enough. Folks, I've never seen anything like this in my lifetime at the United Nations. I've covered many UN General Assembly speeches by Israeli leaders. I've been there in person in New York for many of these addresses. There have been protests, of course. There have been walkouts before, but nothing on the scale of what we saw today. Again, dozens and dozens of diplomats walked out. Here's just some of the countries. The list goes on and on. Algeria, Angola, Argentina, Armenia, Australia, Austria, Bahrain, Bangladesh, Belarus, Belgium, Brazil, Cambodia, Cameroon, Canada, Chile, China, Colombia, Cuba, Cyprus, Czechia, Egypt, France, Germany, Greece, Hungary, India, Indonesia, Iran, Iraq, Italy, Japan, Kenya, Latvia, Libya, Luxembourg, Mexico, Morocco, Mozambique, Myanmar, Namibia, Netherlands, New Zealand, Nigeria, North Korea, Norway, Oman, Pakistan, Peru, Philippines, Poland, Portugal, Qatar, Romania, Russia, Saudi Arabia, Serbia, Singapore, Slovakia, South Africa, South Korea, Spain, Sri Lanka, Sweden, Switzerland, Taiwan, Thailand, Timor-Leste, Tunisia, Turkey, Ukraine, United Arab Emirates, United Kingdom, United States. Again, the list goes on and on. The Palestinian Authority, which rules the West Bank, also known as Judea and Samaria in the Bible, they walked out as well. So much for the PA being a so-called moderate. They don't like Israel's occupation of Palestinian territory, but they hate Iran and they hate Hamas even more. Yet they walked out today in protest along with those countries we just mentioned. Why? Because they are fed up with what they see as Israel's over-the-top response in Gaza now. Remember, it all began last October when Hamas attacked Israel. But folks, what we have to keep in mind here is that Israel has launched a massive military operation in Yemen over the past few weeks. They've been striking Yemen relentlessly. It has escalated tensions in the region, and it looks like the world is saying, whoa, Israel, you've gone too far. If you thought the war in Gaza was bad, wait until we start talking about what Israel is doing in Yemen, in Lebanon, and Syria. It is a powder keg right now. And once again, it seems that the entire world is about to blow. And we know that Israel is moving towards a massive ground assault in southern Lebanon, in particular targeting Hezbollah. What we saw today at the UN, folks, it was a message to Israel from the international community. They are warning Israel that they could be getting ready to enter into a catastrophic three-front war. Israel, Hezbollah, Iran, backed by Russia. Russia will throw its hat in the ring as well. Folks, we could be looking at World War III here. This is how it starts, with a small conflict between two nations, and then other nations get involved. And before you know it, it's a full-blown global war. That is what we are potentially facing right now. Netanyahu has already said that this operation against Hezbollah in Lebanon will be a, quote, long and complicated one. That was his word, not mine. He expects a fierce fight against Hezbollah. We know that Hezbollah has some 150,000 rockets and missiles pointed at every inch of Israel. And we know that Hezbollah fighters are dug into southern Lebanon in civilian areas, using civilians as human shields. That's always been their MO, hasn't it? The tactics haven't changed. They blend in with civilians, hide among civilians, and use them as human shields. Now, we saw that massive Hezbollah-Iranian parade in Beirut, in southern Lebanon a few weeks ago. Hezbollah showed off its might. Thousands upon thousands of its fighters paraded through the streets of Beirut, and the world took notice. The US took notice, the EU took notice, Britain took notice, and they all sent a message to Israel saying, hey, maybe hold it right there. You don't want to go to war with Hezbollah, because if you do, you're going to have a bigger problem on your hands. You're going to drag the entire Middle East into this thing, and things could spiral out of control. That's the message they sent to Israel. In the meantime, Russia has been struck, Hezbollah air bases, Hezbollah weapons factories inside of Lebanon over the past year. But Russia is working very closely with Iran and Hezbollah. And we have to believe that Russia has given Iran and Hezbollah the green light to strike Israel whenever they read good and ready. Look, it is a waiting game right now. The entire world is watching Israel right now. They want to see what Israel's next move is going to be. Are they going to hold Hezbollah accountable for all of those attacks against Israel over the past year and a half since October 2023? Or are they simply going to allow Hezbollah to continue to exist and grow stronger in southern Lebanon, right along Israel's northern border? I think that remains to be seen. But if you thought the war in Gaza was bad, and you thought the war in Lebanon would be worse, folks, you ain't seen nothing yet, because this thing is about to go global. The world is watching Israel right now. Israel finds itself very much alone, isolated on the world stage. They have the support of the United States, of course. They have the support of a few European nations. But the majority of the world is siding with the likes of Iran and Hezbollah and saying, hey Israel, you've gone too far. That is the message they sent today at the UN. The world walked out on Benjamin Netanyahu. Until next time, God bless you, and remember, never hold your peace. And don't forget to share your thoughts, insights, and comments below. Thanks for watching. We'll see you back here tomorrow.